All right, we've been sent another case to evaluate, and what we have here, let me actually, if you don't mind, I can pull up the notes that were sent in on this particular case. But essentially what we're looking at, it's a relatively somewhat common question. Just wondering what would T-Bone do? I should get a little bracelet made. The number 19 site, the lower left-hand side, is interesting and seems that even if I place a 6x9, a food trap will exist due to spacing. Would you place two smaller implants, for example, a 3.3 diameter for two premolar crowns, or would you place a single implant for a molar crown? I don't have the CEREC scan yet, but I went ahead and planned it. Just trying to see what's going on, or what my thoughts are. So let's take a closer look at this, and I'm going to point out a couple of different things here. So when I see a situation like this, I can certainly understand where we're coming from here, because we kind of have an in-between spacing here. So the question is how much space we have. My first question would be or the first thing I would talk to the patient about is, are you interested in any orthodontics? Because orthodontically, ideally, what we would do is we would root torque here. So ideally, what I would love to do if the patient were up for it is, we'd look at root torque in here. We'd create a bigger space than we already have here, and then I would move that tooth closed there, and then our space right here would be larger, probably for two implants in that case. And the reason I want to bring that up, and even if I know the patient's not interested, I want that to me is part of risk benefits alternatives and a full complete education to the patient. So if I put an implant in and then the patient says, oh, by the way, I want to fix the spacing in my teeth, now we're looking at something odd having to be done. So that's what I look at there. So let's go ahead and put the implants in. Okay. So my initial assessment, by the way, on this particular case is that this is probably a situation where I would probably put one implant in, assuming so we got about 10 millimeters. To me, that fits right in the ballpark of a molar crown. I wouldn't want to do two implants. If we did two implants, it'd be 5 millimeters each tooth, roughly 5 millimeters each tooth. Doesn't really allow us the spacing to be able to place two implants. To place two implants between the teeth, we would need 1.5 on each side of the implant of the tooth, so that's 3 millimeters. Two, let's even call it let's call them 3.5 millimeter implants. So that's 7 plus 3. So we're at 10 there, plus 3 millimeters between the implants. So we're at 13 millimeters of space. So really, to be able to place the two implants here, we need about 13 millimeters of space. So to me, this is a molar implant. So a single tooth implant. So now that brings me to my next part. Let's say you had a situation where you wanted to show our patient multiple implants. Well, based on how we have it here, we have this big cluster here. I could look at this, the patient could look at it, and it just looks totally confusing to me and the patient. So what I would like to do is put these into two different plans. So what I do here is I will go to duplicate this, and we'll call this two premolars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this plan and call it two premolars, and what I'm going to do is just delete this molar implant right here. So now what I can do is I have a plan now that shows just two implants. I can go up here to the plan button, and now I can toggle back to my other plan, and on this one what I can do is I can get rid of my premolar implants like so. And here, now I can toggle between this plan, and I can show the patient whether we want to do two implants or whether we want to do, two implants with two premolars and no molar there, or do we want to show them what it would look like just to have a molar there. And let's say you want to change the name of this, you go here to properties, and we'll call this molar only. Okay. And now we can have our different plans here showing the two different options for our patient. And that way we have full disclosure, we have separation, and we have something very easy for us to see and for the patient to see. So thank you again, and hopefully you found this very helpful.